Hello, everyone. Welcome to the OpenZL Conference. My name is Kenny, and I am one of the co-founders of Manta Network. I'm also joined here by Shu Mo, one of the co-founders of Manta Network as well. And we'll shortly be joined by Luke Pearson also. Luke works at Polychain Capital, and he and Shu Mo will be giving an opening ceremony speech for all of the amazing conversations that we'll be having today centered around zero-knowledge proof innovation. But before we do that, I'm going to actually invite Luke on stage right now. But before we do all of that, I just want to go through some logistics with everyone, just to make sure that we have all of you set up so that we can move everyone forward from session to session in the most, smooth manner possible. So with that being said, the structure of this conference is going to be separated into 3 sections. The first 2 are going to be session 1 and session 2. Each of these sessions will contain 5 talks, and that'll span the process of approximately 1.5 hours. In between session 1 and session 2, we'll have a break. Please stay tuned for the first few minutes of the break, because I've got some audience questions that want to get your answers on. And then from there, we'll take a 10-minute break and go into session 2. Once session 2 concludes, we'll have another break. Again, stay for the first few minutes, have some audience questions, and then we'll have another 10-minute break. And afterwards, we'll follow with the final session, which is an open talk that'll be hosted by Shu Mo, and we'll have attendance from various speakers that you have seen throughout the conference today. Each of the talks will be 15 minutes long, followed by 5 minutes of Q&A. If you have any questions, you can write them down at any time. Look to the right-hand side of your screen, and you'll see that there's a chat section. Do not write your questions in the chat section, because they will get buried. So instead, click on the Q&A, and under the Q&A session, you're able to write your questions. And once you have those questions out, we can pick and choose from a few select within the last 5 minutes, and we'll have those answered. So without further ado, I'm going to go off screen, and I'll let Shu Mo and Luke take the stage.
Great. Good morning and good afternoon, good night, everyone. It's my pleasure to present to you the OpenZL conference. By the way, Luke is one of the stewards of the OpenZL public good project. So without further ado, I would like invite Luke to give us an overview and intro of the purpose of the conference and all the amazing talks happening next.
Hello, can you hear me well? I guess people in the chat also, Shu Mo, or am I following the same bad audio train as the rest? I don't know what I'll be able to do about it at this stage, and just hope that there's some clarity in my voice. Well, extending the same morning, afternoon, evening with good from wherever you're sat. Thanks for taking the time to come today. It's been really enjoyable over the past few months to steward, along with Brian and Shu Mo, this OpenZL library, see it sort of come to fruition, see it intertwine with, I guess, some of the other moving projects, but a lot of other moving pieces within the zero knowledge space. I think what's quite exciting about something particularly like this, we'll go into the details in a second, and I'll accredit whichever part to whichever speaker as we go through the list, but is to look at this industry now and look at this, or I guess even reductionistly, this area of mathematics, this area of zero knowledge in its attempt to, let's say, scale or make blockchains private, or perhaps both in sort of application ways, and see its comparison to where it was like 5 years ago in 2017, when I first started working on it. It's not only super exciting, but having these high level or these quite intense engineering efforts speaks volumes to, theoretically, we've begun to sort of converge to a few proving systems or some ideas that are becoming feasible to kind of take blockchain and pierce through the barrier for the masses to adopt it. And I find that really super exciting to go from a cadence of making felt like a paper every single month in 2018 with Fractal, Auroras, Plonks, Bulletproofs, Hyrax, Virgo, to now going, okay, well, there's a few that we have, and then building the infrastructure and tools to make them feasible. And then ultimately, hopefully very soon, not writing circuits too much by hand or taking away as much as that possible, because I know I've had languorous conversations with Shimo, who much prefers the dev side than the math side like me, and he just hates how much of this finicking by hand's done. So it's very exciting to do that, very exciting to see that OpenZL, and a little word about the speakers who are coming. Thanks to all those who are chatting today and joining us. First in that, we have Brandon, who's the CTO of Manta Network. So he's going to be doing a talk called OpenZL, titled Middleware and Open Standards for the Next Generation of ZK Apps. There's a very exciting multi-proof system aggregation, which has various target environments to Novas, Plonky, Starky, Plonk, with nice DSL abstracted language over the top. Followed by him will be Jeff Burgess of the Web3 Foundation. I'll be speaking about Ring VRF, which is a specific construction in Polkadot, sort of taking these things close to the SSLE, the secure sockets, socket layering, sorry. Third is Edward Moraes from Protocol Labs, who we're talking about Lurk, which is yet another very exciting Lisp-like language for constructing zkSNARK. Sorry, the selection noise. And after that, will be followed by Pratyush, who is the chief scientist at Alio and soon to be a professor or working in academia in UPenn, University of Pennsylvania, who is talking about ArcWorks, which, as many of you will know, is a Rust ecosystem for zkSNARKs, which is fantastically handy, extremely well treated, and deployed and used by many, many protocols, things that I've done, things that Shuma's done. So very interesting to see someone who's been able to not only follow, but create some from the ground infrastructure to making snarks viable and having them deployed in a nice, safe, and I guess some unsafe code way, I'm joking, into different systems. Following that will be Bowen Huang, who's the co-founder of Cysic, which is a very contemporary, well, at least in a contemporary area of zero-knowledge hardware acceleration. So gone past the job of people like Shumo and I, only interested in what these systems output, these commitments, these field elements, and laying down onto the bare bones hardware and seeing how that can be accelerated. They had some super exciting results recently around some of the FPGA stuff. So I think it's really exciting to see what he's thinking, where we are now, where the viability and how that can intertwine with some of these open source efforts that we have going. And then after that, we'll be back onto the Manta team with Todd Norton, who'll be talking about Poseidon in Eclair, which is the IR language used part inside of the OpenZL, being able to write circuits more efficiently. And he'll be doing that for a very well used or extremely widely used, maybe the most widely used of zero-knowledge hash functions, Poseidon there. So I think lots of applicability and hopefully lots to be learned, as there always was with Todd. And next after that is Sebastian Leduca, who'll be talking about Plonky 2, a talk title considering Plonky 2. Very, very I think groundbreaking, at least from the off-the-shelf proving systems, groundbreaking constructions of the first kind of shelled Stark recursion, because I guess Starky is included and comes under the umbrella of this talk. Seeing what Daniel and Lou brought back when they were Daniel and Brendan, sorry, back when they were the Mir team, constructing some, I'd say pushing some very interesting boundaries to construct very high arity, highly efficient, recursive snarks over Goldilocks, over super small fields with tricks to put them inside of registers and caches, and dealing with soundness issues that come with that. So I think that will pioneer an awful lot of work, an awfully new area of proof construction. So very excited to learn more about that from Sebastian. And then after that will be Brian Retford, who is the CEO, a wonderful CEO of Risk Zero, which at a fundamental level is an implementation of the RISC-V instruction set. So an exciting new VM that can run ELFs and have static bindings, and is a open source micro architecture attempting to surpass, or arguably successfully surpassing, some of the existing architecture we have now to bring about a very efficient, or at least in a highly usable ZK VM. In that, I'll be talking about a multi-level IR, which is kind of like a LLVM IR v2. So very interesting to see how and why the Risk Zero team are thinking about pushing boundaries on an even more fundamental low level. Penultimately, we have Wei Dai, who's a great guy, fantastic cryptographer, talking about the interoperability of crypto compute environments. So accredited well with Flax and Flow encryption. Today he'll be talking about ZK and MPC, which is a super relevant but also forward-thinking topic to be doing general purpose compute zero knowledge for circuits. And it'll be interesting to see some of his predictions and his thoughts on what direction we'll be taking in terms of viability for zero knowledge general compute for over the next few years. And finally, similar to the whole hardware acceleration, will be Rahul Maganati, who's working over at Jump Crypto and talking about the improving twiddle access for these number theoretic transformations, these NTTs, which is of course a fundamental component for many areas, well, many proving systems, and being able to perform these operations over different hardware chips is very interesting for those who like memory access and memory optimization. I know they'd be done in the orders of billions of NTTs better on memory optimized GPUs and CPUs, but are there in fact tricks that we can do with carryover FPGAs? Well, following Cyclone, I guess we'll find out about very soon from Rahul. So that's all of the speakers. I want to say like a massive thank you, not just for coming and speaking about areas and talking about where you see OpenZL coming, but 5 years down the line now, seeing some of these technologies come to serious fruition and change lives. So not in the hospital or doctor sense, but change lives and push the space forward. So thank you very much. And without further ado, I'll let Shumo take it over.
Great, thanks for the intro. Without further ado, let's actually start the first session. And I think Kenny will hop in and we will start the first session pretty soon.
Yeah, so hey everyone, we're going to move directly into the first session now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to end this session right here, and then you'll